adodan ko fi ho a wo bai and then bring ameka say 7 Supreme Court judges nominee a what they won't call Parliament no ne ya approve on.
Currently, the Judicial is packed with NPP inclined judges because this government has carried out a deliberate policy of putting their people on the bench. It's more than 80 towards 100 and counting. He's packed the courts, and we know that they've packed the courts because they want to avoid accountability after they have left office. We must be prepared as NDC legal persons to also go onto the bench.
You see, I always say that when you're in opposition, you have the free will to always say what you want to say. But when you get to the worms of affair, that is where the real work starts. Today is just June 19th, and the president who criticized an SOR government while in opposition, saying they have packed MPP lawyers, judges, they've sent them to the bench because they want to escape accountability. Just 6 months in office. Just 6 months in office. And they've started packing. So you see how it goes.
I must, Mr. Speaker, address this House on matters of profound constitutional gravity that transcend the routine consideration of judicial appointments. The report already recommends by majority decision, but the circumstances surrounding these appointments demand our most rigorous constitutional scrutiny.
Mema etiefo ni ahwefo nyina akwaba ediba Koda Media TV so sabri. Edin ni ye kaikiri eja ya odi asempa. Dwumedi ya watu ni chirichirem. Ena metena agwam a mede besom etiefo ne ma ahwefo. Wanga wachirichiri ene benche onyankopon nhiro bibiara. Enti mesre ene edika worba so ana woteminka na wa subscribe to the Koda Media TV. Dwumedi ni koso na wabaye Koda Media audition na wa like na wa share na afoforo nso anya bi etie. Wonga wotie mi nyinara. Onyankopon nhiro bibiara na onye obi biara akomaso ade emfa amano. Democracy na ye nyina ya chechire kakra. Omampani John Dramani Mahama kan sembi emra na owo opposition. Se Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo wa pack Supreme Court with judges. Onumpono chese MPP inclined judges. They say judges are Adodankwa Akufo-Addo do wom call Supreme Court no. That say eye won a on won hwibom. Yo was same no yi one a way MPP fun kwan no do won kogu ho.
Currently, the Judicial is packed with NPP inclined judges because this government has carried out a deliberate policy of putting their people on the bench. It's more than 80 towards 100 and counting. He's packed the courts, and we know that they've packed the courts because they want to avoid accountability after they have left office. And so all manner of people who are known to have been partisan, to have been executives of their party, who are in the legal profession, are being leapfrogged into the superior courts and other places. We must be prepared as NDC legal persons to also go onto the bench so that we can balance out, the judicial. And so I encourage some of you to look at careers on the bench so that we can balance out what the current situation is.
Na omampani kan sa asem no. Ghana fu bebere antene yo kan na siye. Say na o kan sa asem no to full Ghanaians. Sa na me kan name. Nti tietia bakas Akufo-Addo wanyande. Na so amamrano kwan amamrano momempanyin kwan ema appointed Supreme Court judges. Inti samre no na na da kwakufu ado mre. Na omampanyin John Dramani Mahama nim se ne oka no emfa kwam. Ensu esanse Ghana fo no bebre yennim se nia ehon hyehyɛ te na akankan ho yen din na yennim nti oka asa no wode so bobɔ adodan kwakufu ado. Yenua enokake ne nkomodi bi mu no o ma sa quotation no yenkotie ni a abofre kuma no oye the product of free education so mfa so baako ene enokake very articulate, very intelligent. Ne yenkotie ne okafa ne omapani John Dramani Mahama ekan ene mere potia or the cancer some.
Let me read this before I continue. This is President John Dramani Mahama speaking to NDC lawyers, a conference in September 2023. Verbatim I read. Currently, the judiciary is packed with NPP-inclined judges because this government has carried out a deliberate policy of putting their people onto the bench. He has packed the court, and we know they have packed the court because they want to avoid accountability after they have left office. This is President John Dramani Mahama, September 2023, speaking to NDC lawyers. You see, I always say that when you're in opposition, you have the free will to always say what you want to say. But when you get to the worms of affair, that is where the real work starts. Today is just June 19th, and the president who criticized an SOR government while in opposition, saying they have packed MPP lawyers, judges, they've sent them to the bench because they want to escape accountability. Just 6 months in office. Just 6 months in office. And they've started packing. So you see how it goes. I always say that what you do not want, or what you think you will do when you're in opposition, you just keep quiet. Do not speak about it, because just 6 months in office and we've seen you, somebody who criticized the NPP government of, and you see, I always have a problem with NDC when it comes to judicial system. Whenever they have an issue in court and they win, the judiciary is fair. When they lose, MPP has packed the MPP judges in court. Why is it so? Why can't we allow our judiciary to be fair? Because you know, this judiciary is the only arm of government that is supposed to check, interpret our constitution, and it's the only arm of government. When in 2012 NPP felt that we were cheated, we went to that arm to speak for us. So when we start to speak ill about this arm of government, don't we send signal to the ordinary Ghanaians that hey, this arm is not even capable or has lost that integrity? Today, just 6 months in office, we are seeing you packing over there. My point is that I have no problem appointing judges, because one, they are going to do the work of the country. They are going to interpret our constitution. They are going to sit at our court rooms to also fast track cases that are kept long over there. My point is, when we tend to politicize that system, because that is the only arm of government that seeks to address most of our concern. So when the NDC in opposition was criticizing that arm of government, I had a problem with that. But today, here we are, where they are in government, only 6 months in their young early ages in government, they've started nominating people. I have no problem with that. After all, we want the good of the country. So when you have people going there to do the work, why not? But it should send a warning, or it should send a view to us that hey, when we are in opposition, we shouldn't speak much, because when we get to the worms of affairs, these are some of the things we are coming to do. So we should decrease most of our talks when we are in opposition.
Yet here is you know. Now your names on my penny John Dramani Mahama ba on the baby. Now they are only obeying the obi man can want some more. We do potential ya okay. A political talk. What should I what can we say du kukurumutie timfema na oka mobia je tu se o akufari nye adodan kwa fi ho a wo bai enen pringa mekasei 7 Supreme Court judges nominee a wode won call Parliament no ne ya approve won approve na wonya ai no ama minority leader Kwamena Afenyo-Markin wakasa ho se ne mebi wo ho a wosi ne ti ase yankoni nkuti sania osahen Afenyo-Markin Alexander the leader of the mighty minority in Parliament. Yankuti nia okay.
I say, the ravening clouds shall not long be victorious. They shall not long possess the sky. Mr. Speaker, upon this foundation, I proceed to make my submissions opposing the decision or the motion before this House for the approval of 7 justices to the Supreme Court. Mr. Speaker, as I contribute to this report concerning appointment committee's report that vetted and is recommending 7 nominees to the Supreme Court of Ghana by majority decision, I will want this committee to first acknowledge the diligent work and detailed work of those nominees that appeared before us. Mr. Speaker, without doubt, these justices distinguish themselves. But whilst we acknowledge the diligent work of the committee and the detailed report before us, I must, Mr. Speaker, address this House on matters of profound constitutional gravity that transcend the routine consideration of judicial appointments. The report already recommends by majority decision, but the circumstances surrounding these appointments demand our most rigorous constitutional scrutiny. Mr. Speaker, this is not merely another parliamentary debate on appointment. It is a defining moment that will determine whether we remain faithful guardians of Ghana's democratic heritage or become complicit witnesses to its systematic erosion. The very foundation of our constitutional democracy hang in the balance as we consider this report this very evening. We, the minority, will not join them in their inconsistent Mr. Speaker,
please, you may continue.
We are not going to join them in their inconsistency in principles.
Yo, yabesere politicians. Send ya opese uye binu obi ya menka wasem. Omampeni yondawani Mahama wadwin bi wanetiko. Ompese obede di achereka na fo. Se obepese ne mere suya 2028 na ko nyaya na amamra no wadangani na otimi abebi die ko ngani bio minnim samere no infidudu obenya na ahoade obenya de adi sa adwuma na enne orebo ho powi nti obehwe Supreme Court judges na oro wonko yi nyina ye mekase na they are also inclined of NDC. We are inclined NDC Supreme Court judges. Se Akufo-Addo saa na oye dia, eno nso saa na waye. The first president, Fourth Republic, or to Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice. Alofi nyina penny na ori tu na deso. Na wape kwen adan nneema bi ani ayo mampeni John Dramani Mahama. Abranti bi kan asem bi. Se o mampeni John Dramani Mahama de se nye president on obeye ya nanka se okudi sofo sanso ne de ne timu ye mmerɛw adwen papa nkutu na woni tim na kasa nyina ya asofo kasa nanka san kokoye Roman fada enso hwo mampeni ne ye na on sofo enye no kware se Supreme Court judge Chief Justice matena se abopowa bi se nipa bi mfa ne ho asem mmra na won fa so wo nyini mfi ho na fa wo incline NDC judge ebehye ho amampanyi wo niam a wo yedi nyina sa na kireren uti nsema Afenyo-Markin kan enenia enokaki ekutu ne nya okekan nyina kire se sa da wo butim na me hu biribi se Judicial Service wono bakasa no kwar kan enni ho pisa yo obi kura kan se Ghana ha nyina fa kwa mran nya adwuma Judicial Service esense senior bit ho ne akofa genius na adna ko Supreme Court uko appeal court ubenya mpanifo a won akere mmara wotete ho na nso genius na fa wo ho wode wonko me kai minu ye bia o postu ni fi kete krache wode no ko shaxi won yobi nso afi secondary edna kotakorade sanse wonni din a chaskele sa na wobo transportation wode ma na ofi secondary ko takorade no sa na wode be ma na ofi Azim eko bimbila ana ofi ketikrache eba Azim inti yebesere Judicial Service Ghana fu nyina ni da so the Constitution of the Republic samra semno muna edam nanso muna mudi ge adwuma nti ebesere na mani na ho ema etiefo ene ahwefo Ghana fo ena moye adwuma ma won wo ye adwuma pa na womreso na akotene fia watimi apue atenetere wompom enso bedu baabi no wo retirement suban bi ene kuta wonti wonam kora na wo hwe wachi woti use obi abo bi din na ese odin pa na oyem ahyew enti mampeni John Dramani Mahama na wonim sa wo so be park Supreme Court ho na wonim se mmara ma wo kwan ma Akufo-Addo ye ne oyeye no na wonim sa na wo hyeda bru Ghana fo ania to anwegu wani mo wo hohoro ya ma anwe no ntimi mfi wani na wo bae na so wabaye bi aka hoyi and the 7 nominees no approve or ko Supreme Court okoye adwuma obi ye na wo senye o ka ho asem papa bo ho da wuru titintifi na de gu ho say oni pa ni din enei waye bi intina mo da Ghana fo na se den na mo ye Ghana fo Koda Media TV suni ahai kan se na esite inti ye besere ya moma no kware na di Ghana fo na won no woto abama mo obi wo ho mpo a mera woto abare ne ba wa matubi esan se sa mene kura me ka se na ne ba na wa no amano ne suade amanfo ma sala ejina wie na wo bɔ ahwere wo ho no na ne ba ne da baabi na ohia ni baabi na kwakɔ pes adwuma muskani na waye Koda Media TV suni edini ye ka akiri eja ya wodi asempa enne ne me kan say 7 Supreme Court nominees now what one call Parliament for vetting no ya clear on nyina ma enne they have been approved and they call themselves Supreme Court judges. Esan say dom kese no akle won ene the minority mo be soro mu nsori o mo soro man sori e be kle won intine ya kle won miri bi de no na nyi ene de politicians sana wo subantini enti enipa mo koto ya ba ma politicians no eya mummu no won kasa yiye mum toto wano na mo hwe omampeni dada John Dramani Mahama podanka wo frɛ no omampeni dada John Dramani Mahama sanse we bedi ekongwa epani nim ni a oye di subani ade nyina ne nim enso Ghana fubu mani guso se yen santre papa yi bio ne yen hwe abosom asiani 7 Supreme Court judges and on aba papa infie kongwa isu na eho na bia na ekeka ko be 50 na 20 said wa sha sintemu sa ne yehu nanan ene di kan roba so subscribe to the Koda Media TV na be kan busia kase ne ho jumedi bitofem pe obinya na watie wi a fa comment to comment section ho Sani ye jumane nei edibisia
Ediefo munti nkabwe na monhye no so ansana ya to adwumedi ne so eduru wanwaso bi aba guaman so a wofre no milk thistle liver complex supplement na eduri ayedura wo liver problem anase wo merebo ho ha biara hepatitis B C, D, and E. Was a how be a unya said ribia ebeboa. Efi immune system a haran soa and so unya ribia ebeboa and that's DP ewo ho. Say one of saden na and so the how be abre liver ana wo merebo out inflammation be ewo ho and so wonoma ebitimi aboa. Unya fatty liver ana salade bi aba wo merebo ho and so wonoma ebitimi ahohoro ne nyina afio eyedura asanipa bibre yare nti unya bia ebeboa woto abiesa woche obaako anu ye battery get one free ahomarotrofo a woposo a unsabe cancer edri bia 02014295111 ewiase obi benya wa na ifio yare obededema na ifio yare ohia behia wa na ifio yare na wo yoberima na untimi nyira wona nso a na eyo ahometo papa na yare a wofre no prostate enlargement se ebi how padia ene na wo last stop ani na nya duru won waso bia onum bia ukogina wona wodwonso a etesere won abuye pipe ta uyo bia sepsebe Johnson ti unya kwanda no dwa unya bia ho beto ana se ukogina wona binyunso yi obi wojinso nkete enu ina yo hawa edeba mmerima na uyo bi so a odwo so na wote oyaw bi wo oberima mu eno so unya sa aduru bi a ebeboa wanunum nduru pii wanum abrofuduru anumibunduru enso wonhu ano eno na ubehia neutralite product na wayusu na sa ohaw nyina ebefi ho na ahomatrofo a wo so a wo sabitimi akasa aduru bi no 001 216 374 8547 ani ono na won sabe kan wo sa amatrofo so yeto so bien Rita ono so 001 614 205 1844 bomodiana pusu sa homai na obenya drubi na ho ato